trying to get my screen to load so I can see what is going on the screen here. Thank goodness I did that because I didn't see what happened to the last live stream, but something happened to it. I think I lost internet. We've had spotty internet today. So yeah, sorry about that. Whoops. Guess I'll text my husband real quick and just say, I lost connection, but I'm back. Let's say that. But I'm back. There we go. All right. Let's try to get back to work here. Getting all kinds of distractions happening. I don't need them. I have work to do. Okay. I don't want to accidentally drag across that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on this big section here that I was going to do the last time, but now I'm going to do this time. What I'm mostly saying is I want some value here and here. What I don't want to lose is these beautiful marks. So I'm going to try really hard to preserve them as best as I can. I guess I'll grab my big one here, a big brush. Like I said before, I go over the lightest areas first when I'm putting a layer of water on top of pigment. Just helps it to gives the dark pigment a chance to keep up with it. And I'll use as few like brush strokes as I can get away with. And then if I need to add water, I'll just dab it in, you know. So, and I try not to drag the bristles without a lot of water in them across the surface, and that helps all of this to stay really nice and intact. Okay. And it looks like I have a big pool of water on there, and I do, but I can like remove some of it strategically. All right, there we go. Just the dark paint sucks the water right up like a sponge, and it will look like it's dry already. So you just have to carefully flood it again. There we go. And then I probably don't need water up in those little points because they're going to stay white, but I don't want there to be like a hard edge anywhere. So I am going to still just kind of give them a little drink so that everybody stays consistent and there's not any like hard edges that accidentally dry, because even the red will bleed some and create a hard edge. So unfortunately, when you fill in a space with water, you got to fill in the whole space essentially. But you can keep the water consistency or viscosity, however you want to say it, however you want in the space, but just be aware certain areas will dry. In fact, see, I just accidentally put some pink water. I don't want it. I want that nice, clean, bright white edge. Get out of there. Get out of there. No, sir. All right. I want to pick up a little bit of this water. Yes, I'm back. Sorry. Internet has been a little spotty today, actually. So I noticed that a couple times earlier today when I was trying to edit video and stuff, I was getting kicked off the Wi-Fi and it was going to cellular data, which was annoying. But anyways, I'm back to adding value into my beautiful tulip. It's beautiful. Gonna have some come up around here. Kind of like directionally put the paint in the wrong direction. It kind of matters from which direction you go, or it gets misshapen, I guess you could say. All right, so now I want to add a little bit here, a little bit there. So I'm trying to give it like a little, what do you want to say? Like, you know, ripply texture, I guess. It's kind of like a ripple type tulip. I don't know. I'm not a botanist, Jim. I'm a painter, sort of. I mean, I don't want to like, you know, I'm not trying to say I'm any good at this. I'm just trying to say I don't know about the flowers I paint. I just know a little bit. Whoops. About watercolors. All right, so now I'm gonna pick up my paper and like move it around and kind of manipulate it some. And then this is like where I start to pay attention to like the water viscosity on the surface so that the pigment goes where I want it to. Like, yes, I don't have to blendy blend like in an oil painting, which is why I hated doing the oil painting, because the oil painting is so annoying because I have to do all this fussy blending, I feel like. Whereas watercolors blend for you. And maybe that's made me lazy. I don't know. You're not wrong. I'm gonna add a little water to this. It's very, very thick for watercolors anyways. All right, so. You want to know the Just Jenny Lee that I recorded today, William? I recorded entropy. Things ain't what they used to be. I thought that would be a fun topic because it was so salient when we were working together, and it is so salient to like things like working out, and it is so salient to works in progress and whips, I guess you could say. Whoops, this is starting to dry up some, and I'm not ready for that. Not ready for that kind of commitment yet, so I'm going to go back in and add some water here. If I don't like the surface tension of the water and I feel like, hey, I'm not ready for you to dry yet, I'll add more water in because I have the ability to know, I guess, when I can add water and it won't like blossom or bloom for the most part. For me, watercolors are actually about being in control. So I think it's hysterical when people are like, I feel so out of control when I'm doing watercolors, man. And I don't. I feel more in control than I probably need to. Because then I'll like mess with things that I don't really need to mess with. Because the watercolors themselves, as you can see, like they do really beautiful things that no brush stroke could ever do. And I just like to take advantage of that. All right. I'm half tempted to dry it, but if I dry it, it's gonna disperse more than I want it to. So it's like hard to know. Really, really, really like that. I just want it to stay. I want it to stay just like that. That is perfect. That is perfection right there. So I kind of have to babysit it for a second. So as much as I want to move on to the next spot for you guys, this one needs a little bit of, I can't just walk away from it yet. It's not ready. It needs a little bit of help still. And I know they're like minuscule movements that I'm making that probably don't mean much to you, but mean something to me. I almost want a tiny bit more right there. Sometimes I'm just like dabbing it in place, not even like painting it in place. Sometimes I have to turn the paper also so that I can make the movement that I want to make, that I can't make with it going in the direction it's going. All right, that's getting almost too dry for me to touch it anymore over there. And I don't actually want to add water to that. I think it's done. So now all I want to do is try to make sure that I can maintain this space until it's dry. A little bit of the hair dryer maybe. Just to get it on its way, not a ton, because again, it will like disperse the paint more than I want it to be, and that will just annoy me. So I don't want to do that. All right, so I want to stay away from this area and this area still because that's still not totally dry either. So I'm gonna like scooch over to the other side of the painting. And the other night I was doing this, I think I got to, I don't know if I got to that one, but I know I didn't get to that one. So I'm gonna do that one. And that's how I like work on the painting, as I like jump around. You can't really work on spaces that are right up against each other because they will bleed into each other. So sometimes I'll use the hairdryer to help, but the hairdryer can like take away the pretty effects that the watercolor has done because it wants to then like completely disperse into the paper, which I don't want it to do that. Please don't do that. I'm excited about the Musical Monday tonight, William. We haven't had one in a while. I feel like we haven't had a Musical Monday in like a month. Or no, I mean, sorry, in like 2 months. Have we even had one this year, actually? I don't know. It's weird to think it's already like March 20-something. 3rd? 2nd? Something like that. I don't know. It's March 20-something. That's what it is. So it's not January anymore. No, it's not even February anymore. And as happy as that makes me, it's a bit startling, nonetheless. Like, man, time flies. I don't know if I'm having fun. I'm just busy. It is fun some of the time. Oh, you know what? I think these were supposed to be like blending in together. I think this one and this one were supposed to be done at the same time. That is true. So normally I would tell you, oh, paint your light areas first. Well, I didn't because I didn't realize these were together until I turned upside down. So whatever. It's my rule book. I can break the rules if I need to. And if I inadvertently break them, I can pivot, I guess. So it is kind of my role. I do have a bunch of rules that I follow in order to like paint these watercolors, which is probably why people think they're so good, because I have like a system, which I've been using for a really long time now. Actually, 25 years now. That's crazy too. Wow, time flies. It flies like a freight train. It's insane. All right. Now that I have my water down, same deal basically as that over there. Same. This is like curved up and rather dark across the board. So I'm going to add my value pigment to that. Kind of come up along the sides, and then and it kind of comes along here. So now I'm going to pick up my paper. My brush doesn't roll away into the distance. I actually probably want to add a little bit to here too, now that I'm thinking about it. And just get that like nice blended effect from the paint, because it wants to blend anyways. Like that's what it does. And then if I notice I did like any weird thing like that right there, then I can just like pull the paint over with the brush. And if I think, oh, that's like too much, I can add water and it will like push the pigment to the side. Water is the bully in watercolors. I think people don't realize that. Water is the bully. It's a bully. It's not the pigment that's a bully. It's the water that's a bully. The pigment just goes, actually, not where the water is. It goes through the water. Where the water is, the pigment gets pushed away. Where there's an edge, the pigment gets pushed away. So the pigment isn't really the boss of the scene here. All right, I want to look at what that looks like in the iPad so I can determine whether I want to add more dark to that, which I feel like I would. Yeah, I think I would want to. So let's do that. Kind of pull it down like this, maybe. I'm thinking. has all these like wrinkles in this flower. It's a little challenging to convey. I feel like I want to add water to this, but push water away from that. So, or I mean, pull water away from this so that it kind of moves a little bit. And then I want to add water to that so it will like push it away from that. Let me see what I think of that in the camera. I'm just trying to keep these values subtle. I want values, but I don't want them to be crazy. And that's very hard for me because I do go crazy with values. I'm crazy about values. I really am. I think that they're so effective and they make such a difference. Isn't as bright as I'm making it, but I want to save some of that white just because as a watercolor, the more white you can save, the more like dramatic the painting will be. So even if I'm exaggerating that a little bit, and this blended edge is supposed to get a little bit like less. This is where I'm like rubbing off the edge a little bit so that I have like this like not as harsh seam on there. There we go. That's great. I love that. I kind of want to like save it with a hairdryer a little bit so it doesn't go anywhere. All right, I feel like any more it's just going to distribute too much. This has like a little green something on there, and there's no teal in this painting, so I don't know where it came from, but I just want to add some water and see. It's likely acrylic paint, which is unfortunate, but it'll just kind of pop off the surface. It's like a little drop of something that doesn't belong there. All right. Ye old fridge scrubbers, they're so good. They work so great. All right, so now this spot is drying and this spot is drying, so we're going to come back around to these spots that are probably pretty dry. And if I was like nervous about painting in the space adjacent to it, now that it's mostly dry, I don't mind hitting it with a hairdryer. That way I don't have like bleed through from one area to the other. All right, so same type of thing is kind of supposed to happen on this back panel here as to that, where there's like, oops, I'm pointing at something that you can't see. As to this, where the edge gets sort of like a little bit more obscured, I guess you could say. This one actually does have a hard edge. So maybe before I go into this, I'll do this one first, and then it'll be like sandwiched in between. Yeah, I think that's a good plan. And in fact, if I'm looking at this, that comes in real dark right there. So I could just do a little wet and to dry for that spot. Let's add some water. Oh, thank you for the likes. I really appreciate that. I hope you're having a good day at work. I hope everyone is having a good day. I don't know how your Monday is going. Whoops. I gotta be careful when I'm spraying water over there. Look what I just did. Let's move that out of the way. I was putting my hand there, but it didn't matter. What I need, see how it spritzes it all over the place? What I need is like an eyedropper, like a pipette where I like suck the water and then like drop it into there. William, get on that. Painting with a micro pipette. Did you ever use those in science class? I was a science nerd. I really liked science. I liked art and I liked science. I liked both. Musical Monday pizza party. I'm looking forward to that too. It's possible that I'm behind you here. I don't know how to catch it up. Whoops. No, I just paused it by accident. So, oh, I'm not that far behind you. Okay. I'm just going to add my value color to this, like right directly onto it. And darken it up a little bit. I might have had too much water, but we're going to go with it. It's like separated from the other section by this thing here. So now what I want to do is I'm going to take my, this gets pretty dark, but I'm going to take my water brush. There's really no light area for me to start in this time around. Yeah, some kind of like thing that I could suck water out, or even like a turkey baster, I guess, but that would probably get sloppy. Something that would actually be clean. I don't want to be like dribbling water across everything. So something that would be not as sloppy as a turkey baster, because I don't know who invented them. It's not a terrible idea. It's more like the execution is bad, because you suck it up out of the turkey thing and then you move it over to your pan or whatever you're going to be cooking, your gravy or whatever you're cooking in, and it's like dribbling as it's going. So I feel like it's good in theory, but it's not neat. So I'm saying I want something that doesn't like dribble on the way over. You know what I'm saying? That's what I need. I can tell when I'm like starting to lift the paint off the paper. So I want to stop then and always like refuel with water here, so that the more water I have, the less it's going to drag across the surface. Now it's more water than I need. All right. It's temporary though. It's temporary because I am going to be lifting up some of the water, but I don't want areas to dry on me. And there's so much pigment on there that is going to be inclined to dry if I don't have enough water on there. So the main thing is I need it to not dry while I'm trying to add enough water over the whole space. So I will like overcompensate and the water will just kind of pool up. Now it does take a little practice to like not have the water spill all over the painting, and I still actually do that sometimes. I did it the other night in the live stream. But generally speaking, it's good practice because it's just kind of sitting and hanging out. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my values color here and I'm going to add it to this. Oh, I said that, but I didn't actually lift off the water that I was literally just talking about. There we go. So if I have too much, I'll pull it up. And I am pulling up a little bit of pigment, but not a ton. And then I make sure that I just dunk that brush right into the water right away. So now I'm ready for my pigment color. I might have to dig out a littler brush than this, because this is kind of challenging to get it into the small spots. So that's what I think. Oh. Sometimes that's why I can't do oils either. See, I just touched the watercolor, but I'm not going to like lose a limb here. Whereas in the oil painting, you touch that thing as you're going and it's like, there's a national crisis or a mass casualty incident or something. I'm always accidentally touching stuff. So that's one challenge I have with the oil painting is you have to like use a stick if you don't want to touch your painting. And like, I do my little exercises every day. I don't have time for that. And I don't have the strength for that. All right, I'm going to mop up a little bit of this puddle. It's kind of like trying to infiltrate here. keep accidentally messing up my waters. One, they're both about the same now. I need to be careful. I try to have 3 levels of water cleanliness. Super clean, super dirty, and somewhere in the middle. All right, let me look in the iPad to see what I think of that. Interesting. Okay. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. That's a good sign. So I just think there's too much pooling. So let's try to reduce pooling but increase pigment load here a little bit. And do I want more up there? I don't know, maybe. I'm scared. I'm scared. What do I think of that? It almost needs to go to here. I know it's a tiny detail, but it feels like it matters. Let's see, how does that look? Okay. Oh, I see why it's doing that. It's like, okay, I got it. Didn't understand. That's why it's very useful to paint like this, because I can see what I'm doing on the screen there, and it's like, oh, I can see why it's a problem. I don't like that. I can see why I don't like that. Got it. I'm gonna add a little bit of water to this and push it. It's kind of wanting to creep down more than I want it to. Don't do that. Don't do that. What do we think of that? I like it. I don't think that's bad. I don't think it's bad at all. Not bad. Needs garlic. I might have thinned this paint out too much, which is kind of annoying me. All right. I do want to give it maybe a quick spritz with the hairdryer. There's like a thing right there that doesn't belong. There is like a chunk of something on my paper. And as I'm trying to lift it off, I can't. So it's like lifting pigment. Are you kidding me? Alrighty then. So generally the advice for something like that is to grab like a wicked tiny brush and lift it out, but it's not lifting. There we go. Oh my gosh. Drama. Drama. I feel like that could be lighter right in that space right there too, now that I'm looking. So let's do that. I'm just gonna push a little water in there. And interestingly, the paper is like buckled in like that, so I feel like that will even work. I feel like that will possibly do what I'm looking for it to do. This wants to come up a little bit here, maybe. No, I'm painting with the squirrel brush, which is not normally what I'm doing. Oh, there we go. All right, I don't mind that. I don't want to over dry it, because it will, then what will happen is like that beautiful values tone that you see there just will disappear into the whole body of water. So I don't want that to happen. So I'm trying to be patient and let things dry. I used to be really aggressive with the hairdryer, and now I try not to be, because the difference really is this. This is using the hairdryer to try to save time, and this is like letting it dry naturally. But you've got to have the right paint consistency and viscosity in the water in order to achieve the effects. So yeah, I'm trying to learn to not be as impatient as I have been my whole life, which is an ongoing battle. That's just going to be a perpetual long-term thing. All right, so now I need to get this little space done up. So that's what I'm going to do is this little guy right here. 312. You know what that means? It means that Pizza Pie Party is not far off from happening, which is really exciting. I can feel water wanting to drip right down my hand, so I need to shake that off or it's going to land somewhere in the painting and be annoying. So like I said before, and like I say again, and I say a million times, you get your clean, clear water. Apply it to the lightest areas first of the shape that you want to add your color to. And I'm going to be painting this as one shape because I'm gonna make that edge like a little softer like I did on this one here. Somehow I remember that was the goal back then, 15 years ago. Well, now we're going on, I think, 16, right? It's 2026. And this was like 2010, maybe? So, yeah. 2010, yeah. All right. Now I'm going to add the water into the darker area, starting with the lighter area of the darker area. Hit that edge up right there. Come around the back side of it. You know what I think I'm going to do tonight is you're going to lay down and go to bed, William, while I stay up a little bit, and I'm going to do maybe the Crochet Studio live stream. I think that would be a great place for me to end my evenings. I spend so much time like looking at my phone and crap, and sometimes I think it would just be better for me to get creating and stop stressing about content creation. I end up spending all these hours trying to do certain things or whatever, and it's like, why? Create more art, less editing, more art. That's going to be the goal here. Not less content, just less editing. Okay. All right, this whole thing is kind of in value shadow here, so we're going to add a little water and do this very lightly. Because remember, the name of the game for this particular painting is lighter is better. Going with light values, gentle approach on this painting. That's the goal. All right, now I'm gonna pop it around so I can see it on the overhead here and add in my water where I feel like I need to. Oh, that looks great though. That's kind of what it needed to look like, so that's pretty cool. It's doing the thing it's supposed to do, which I really am grateful for. I just want to add water to that point so that it stays really bright white, because remember, water's the bully and it pushes the paint around. So and then I just want to add like a little bit more value to this underside because that got like really kind of washed out doing this. So just to protect this edge as well, I'm going to add a little water. Kind of like a tug of war. A little more water, a little less water, a little more pigment, a little less pigment, a little more water, a little less water. It's just a constant back and forth. I do need to grab the smaller brush at this point, I'm pretty sure. All right, so along this bottom edge, we need a little bit of something so that it translates as a rolled edge more than it is right now. So oops, I went in the wrong direction. I do that sometimes. I'll drag the brush in the wrong direction, which isn't a big deal, but it it always is like, oh no, crap, I mean to do that. let's do a little blending for a moment here. See what we think in the camera. This is like needing to be a little darker along there, I think. Yes, okay, I agree. I agree with myself. It's always a good thing, right? My purple probably needs a little bit of touch up, because what I'm noticing is it's flowing like a lot. So if I want the paint to not flow as much, what I need to do is I need to make it more pigment dense, and then it won't flow as aggressively. So I'm gonna just grab a whole bunch of it. So that will kind of solve my problem of how fast the paint is traveling through the water. It's a little more than I want. I don't need the exact same color. It's not an acrylic where I'm trying to get like a flat application of color. So I need to make sure I don't have too much water on the paper, and I need to make sure I don't have too much water in my color. So I'm gonna like almost dry the paper off a little bit with my brush. And in doing that, when I apply the pigment, it will kind of sit there. I must have really added a lot of water to that, my goodness. All right, so now, because I don't want that to be that like aggressive right there. So now then I add water to that, and it will like push the pigment around a little bit like a bully. I say water is the bully in a watercolor. I want to grab like the tiniest amount. Just kind of like, you know, feed it along the edge here so that I have like a nice clean edge. That's the goal. I can take like several passes of fussing with it, but to me that's still better than trying to blend in oil painting, which is just to me the worst. I don't know, I don't like it. Let's see what we got. Ooh, not bad, not bad, not bad. I like how that sort of like curls at you. Gonna add a tiny bit of water to these little areas to help push the paint around a little bit better. I think it adds a lot to do that. This one is also like kind of, as this point pops up into this red, I really want to keep it bright white so that it pulls forward. Yeah, before I dry it, I almost want to add just a tiny bit more dark to that. Sometimes the best way to get your paint darker is to pick up the stuff that's dried, because it's like sucks up the water, and so it can be like a little bit heavier. Not always, that one wasn't. I say that like I know what I'm talking about. It's been that way before, we'll just say. All right, I feel like I'm kind of getting more what I'm looking for. I don't know exactly what I'm looking for. It's the painting will tell me when it knows, I guess. Here we go. I'm gonna just see what that one looks like. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I'm reluctant to even hit it with a hairdryer because the watercolor, it's so, there's so little space between it and the white. So I almost just want to like babysit it so it doesn't go anywhere. This little edge looks a little wonky. I don't like. don't like it. There we go. I don't want it to look like somebody couldn't hold a paintbrush properly. That's not cool. Okay, there we go. I almost want to say that could be good. It still wants to like creep up more than it needs to though. I'm gonna expand those a little bit. See how the water like pushes the pigment down? And that's like a really handy dandy tool. You can use those like watercolor blooms, I guess they're called, that people don't like to make. And I just use them to my benefit to like shape the paint and do stuff with it, make it bend to my whim. This one has like a bright spot inside of it. I don't know if I can recreate that. It's so small. That's why I paint so big, because things that are happening end up being so small and hard to know what to do with. I almost feel like there's like a brighter area coming up through here too. These are all like tiny little details, but they make a difference. So I don't want to miss them. I almost could like highlight that more, but let's see what it looks like on the screen. Not bad. I'm reluctant to mess with it anymore at this point. I'm scared. I mean, it is a painting, and at the end of the day, it's open to interpretation. So, and if I keep adding water, I'm just gonna never be done with it. So there's like a point of diminishing return, you know. And I have to be careful because I'm going to end up creating blossoms in areas I don't want. I can see it's about to happen in a few spots. So it might have hit its limit for wanting to be manipulated at this point. So I am going to give it a tiny bit of air. Not a ton. I don't want to take away its character. All right, so if I'm looking at this, looks like we got this one done, and I really like how that looks, so I kind of want to get this one here. And I don't love this one, but we're gonna make it work. Oh, I see what I did. That's interesting. All right. It's kind of a nondescript little area. Oh, hey, Mary, how are you? How's your Monday going? I can't say I wish it was Sunday. I wish William was home and we were off together still, but so I wish it was Sunday in that regard, but Sunday was crazy busy for us. So now I'm having chill vibes in the studio, getting back to rescue work on paintings, because that's the goal, is to get all of these rescued, fixed, whatever, documented, and put on the website. So all right, that looks pretty good, I think. So see, that's why I use the big fat soft brush to apply water, so that it doesn't like pull these lower layers up, because that's not what I want. And now if I'm looking at my reference photo here, I don't really like how I did this, but it's already done. So I don't know. I don't love it. And there's really nothing I can do about it, I guess. Oh, this is supposed to come up to like that. All right. Sometimes I make mistakes in my paintings, and then I find them as I'm going along. So I'm actually going to do a quick repair right here. You know, William, running around, had appointments. Oh, okay. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Sounds like you're having a good day though. I don't know. That's really up to you. One seems to feed us all if you're looking to be like budget conscious, but two gives you leftovers, so you know I'm not gonna fault you for that. I'm just gonna like add a little value into that so that it like kind of hides it, I guess. Looking very bell peppery to me. I think this is supposed to have like a value underneath here, and it didn't, so I don't know what's up with that. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing in this spot right here. It's a weird little spot that I don't really understand. So I'm just gonna paint it and see what happens. If I don't like it, I can change it later. It's always fun to run errands with somebody. I tell you, I really enjoy having William's company when we're running errands because he makes everything more interesting and more fun. And he's always good at about getting me snacks. I need snacks, really. I'm a snacky kind of girl. So snacks are I'll do anything really for snacks. I mean, 10 or 20. Oh, okay. Again, I feel like 10 kind of feeds us, sort of, but like can be a little bit stingy. So it's what you feel up to. I'm not gonna get that nitpicky with the budget. Yeah, this is supposed to be in value too. So interesting. We're gonna be doing it under here too. Okay, got it. See what it looks like on the screen. I mean, I'm like always for more, you know? In the case of pizza and wings, less is not more. More is more, you know? Just saying. So let's blend. Let's do a little blendy blend here. Try to make sure that the paint doesn't go over the edge of the adjacent spot. Maybe add a little water. Let's see, what does it look like on the screen? It looks, I don't know. Is that supposed to be, I don't know. It looks like it's supposed to, I guess, on the reference photo, but on the screen, it doesn't look that good. Why is that? What's it doing? No, that didn't work. Try to get like a heavier handed amount of the dark in there, maybe? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not here to teach you watercolors. I'm here to force myself to paint them. I might be able to teach you what I do, but I can't teach you how to make a watercolor. I actually, even when I get paid to teach, I feel like people come in and they're just like, oh, I'll do what I want. I'm like, okay, why did you take this class then? I'm going to teach you what I do, I don't know anybody else's methods. How does that look? That looks terrible. Oh, this spot is like annoying me. I'm gonna remove, I think, some of this pigment down here and see if that helps. How about that? Does that make you happier? Petal or whatever you are, maybe you call yourself. I guess. Aw. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. Thank you. Because I start to like get sick to my stomach when I go to crack this open and try to work on it, because I think, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna have ruined it, you know? Like there, I didn't realize that would do that right there, but I'll have to mess with it after. I painted on the old white paper, and it's like 2 different colors. It's so interesting. I didn't know it would do that. Not that it really matters all that much, you know? It is translating as a petal that's coming forward and folding upward, so that's the goal. This, I don't know what it's doing. I don't like it. That's for sure. All right. Let's just take one more peek. It kind of like, no, that's really what it does. I don't know. There's darker value behind it. So what I'm thinking is I want to take this value off, I think is what is my problem, is right here. I don't like this right here. So let's just eliminate that. As long as the paper stays wet, I can manipulate this for a good amount of time. It's when it starts to dry up that I'm gonna have issues. So let's see what that looks like. I heard we're supposed to get snow tonight, William, or possible snow tonight. I haven't stepped outside to know what it's like outside yet. Let's add a little more water to this. I want to push this pigment up into the space there because it's like, I don't know, it's creeping more than I want it to. So if you remember, water's the bully, and it will push the paint around. What do I think about that? It's more tolerable, sorta. I don't know. Okay, you can see the fold. Okay, well, that's better. That's better than what we did have going on. But what I don't like is I don't like this, like, traced edge here. It's bugging me. I gotta get a little bit more dark coming in here, I think. Let's see. It kind of comes down like this. This is what happens when I'm working without pizza and food, nourishment, and snacks. All right, I'm just gonna keep dabbing this down this way until I feel like when it shows up, like until it looks the right way on there. Yeah, it's like a cast shadow. Okay, I think that's more what I wanted it to look like. Let's see what that looks like on the screen. And this is supposed to be significantly darker too, just this little area. All right, just that little area, but it's dry right there, so I better add a little water so we don't have issues. Okay, so it's almost where I want it. It's not exactly where I want it. I want it to come around this way a little bit more, actually. Two pizza and 20 wings. Yeah, and extra ranch for Tabitha. Oh, okay. I almost don't want to mess with it much more. That's like seriously much closer. Much closer. It's very helpful to look in the screen to see what I'm doing. Yeah, I was struggling when I was first painting live stream because I couldn't like step back and look at what I was doing. But now I just use the iPad to do that, and it's very effective. That's my water. You can hear me dabbing my brush into. Perfect. And we have pie, Mary. Because we have friends coming over. So we got the apple raspberry crumb pie for dessert. All right, we're gonna pause with that right there. All right, this is coming along. 3:38. I had a 24-minute live stream that I got interrupted, so I would say I've got another like 30 minutes to go, maybe before I decide to move on for the evening. Let's see. This has had its extra coat already too, but this one hasn't. I don't know if that's ready. All right. So this is, oh, okay. So this one and this one are nearly like blended into one another. And this was supposed to have like a little tiny white edge on it, which I didn't do. I'm gonna do after. So maybe this one. And this too is also supposed to have like, there's a few little edges that were supposed to be saved white and ended up not getting. Like this. Sorry, I'm like talking to myself here, trying to figure this out. I feel like I'm solving a puzzle. All right, now that I've thoroughly hurt my brain, I'm just trying to see where these, oh, so this is all this one piece back here. Gotcha. And then this, I'm like looking so closely at my reference photo, so I can't show you because I'm staring at it myself. Okay, so this comes up behind here. That's gonna be a tricky spot, but it's right up against that one, so I can't do that one yet. But this piece here is like what wraps around that, right? Yeah. Yes. So I can do this piece right here, I guess. And then that way we're starting to converge on the middle. I'm like nervous to do this one out because it's like so long and skinny. I don't know. It's challenging to do long skinny pieces. And the other thing I don't understand is, oh, it's right there. Okay. I see what we got going on here. This is definitely going to be challenging. I feel like my paint also, my value paint, even though it's really dark, it is still not as like thick as I need it to be. It's not opaque enough yet. So I accidentally over thinned it earlier on, and I'm still kind of trying to recover from that fiasco. My paint has to be really, really dark, and then if I need it to be thinner or like more translucent, I can just add water to it in the adjacent well. All right, I'm hoping that is good. I don't know. Oh, thank you, Mary. I appreciate that. I definitely should have reconsidered trying to rescue all these paintings, but it's rewarding. It's rewarding, and it's been fulfilling to I don't know, to like recast. So like this happened, all the few paintings, the few watercolors that I had going on that didn't get finished. I had like a really tragic sort of breakup during finding a big mass on my liver, and my husband like left me in the hospital, and I had a shop and I was doing these big paintings. And so like when I closed up the shop so I could have the surgery because he wasn't going to help me because he was off doing his own thing, I sort of like shut down, and I put all my art stuff in storage for a couple years. I don't know if it was a couple years, but I was probably like a year. And then I brought it all out and brought it to the new place I was living. And I didn't really get to work on anything. I went to school for psychology. I was taking all these classes. and I didn't really get back into the studio. That's when I started doing all the doodles and all this. So I kind of changed up the way I was working after I had gone through that like really crazy experience. So it's only been in the last bit that I've decided, hey, I miss my watercolors, and that's like a big part of my identity. I don't want to let go of that. So, oh yeah, it's well, I don't know. It was, I guess, his own thing at the time. Yeah, I got home from the hospital, and it was really weird because I walked up. He wasn't there. He was working, I guess, and I walked up to the door, and I was like, "Wow, that's so weird." I was in the hospital, Mary, for 24 days, by the way, and so I walked up to the door, and I was like, wow, that's so weird. I feel like I remember the doorknob differently. This doesn't, why does the doorknob look so different? Well, I went to put my key into the doorknob, and it was changed. They had changed the doorknobs and the locks, this new person. And I had to call the police, and the police were like, well, you're married to him and he has to let you in to get at least your things. And so I ended up taking everything because everything was mine. I had filled the house up with a settlement I had gotten, so everything was mine. So I took everything. So he was mad at me after that, and I didn't care. And I didn't go back after that. That was the end of that, because what was there to go back to, you know? And I moved on. And that traumatic experience sort of like put a damper in my creativity for a bit. And it took me a few years to really get back into it. So come to find out, your creativity, it's the last thing you want to do is make it contingent on someone else's treatment of you, because in that case, it's going to be bad news. So interesting. This like got kind of like washed out when I did that. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm gonna have to think about that. I'm not sure I'm super happy with that. We are going to give ourselves grace and mercy in doing these paintings and realize that they are being revived, and so they may not be exactly as perfect as I want. And I just painted that more than I wanted to, unfortunately. Not what I was hoping to do right there. Whatever. I will fix that when I do the other thing. Yeah, I've been through some crazy stuff. People love to say that to me all the time. People will say, well, we know you've been through a lot of crazy things in your life. And it's like, it's just like a matter of fact now that the people who are in our life now sort of understand the chaotic experiences that I've had. And some of them, I don't even know if I could talk about them on this platform without getting like, banned or whatever. So I don't want that to happen, but just some challenging things for sure. I'll say that. Life likes to give me lemonades, or lemons, but I really like lemonade. Life doesn't give me lemonade. I like lemonade though. And life gives me a lot of lemons, and I really, really, really like lemonade. I do. It's the best. All right, so this gets very dark underneath here. Listen, the best lemonade, Mary, that you can get, I feel like, up at Lake George. We like to go up there and hang out and go do the touristy nonsense that you can do up in a lake town. And we love doing it. It's very fun, very fun. So there's the guy who makes like the fresh squeezed lemonade, and we got to get one every time. I always feel like we should just get two. William always feels like we should just get one. I always feel like we should always get two, because really, it's hard not to just slurp that right down. It's the best. I don't need the flavored kinds. I just need the good old fashioned crushed up lemons you know, with the sugar and the ice. That's perfect in the big tub cup that you get them in. All right, so hang on. This comes down like that. What in the world is that piece of crap on my paper? Come on. We love to do all this fun stuff in the summer, and mostly you'll like when I post reels on my personal, I don't really do them much on YouTube. I haven't really anyways, but maybe I'll start doing some of them. But we'll try every single food that you can find at any fair, any event. We are in for all of it. We love it and we are there for it. Okay, so this is supposed to like come down a little darker right there. That's half of what I miss in the wintertime is like the fair food. People talk about like gaining weight in the winter. I'm like, I don't know. I'm gaining weight in the summertime from all the delicious fair food that I can get my hands on, you know? This is all real dark. Possibly not really that well drawn, but all right. It kind of like has a hard edge right here that I want to acknowledge because it's like under shadow there. Yeah, we're always getting like all the things from the fair. So that's what I'm mostly looking forward to is summer food. We've already been for the ice cream once, and we're probably going to go again next or this week. We have to check the calendar and see what flavors they have because we are big fans of the peanut butter, and you can only get that on certain days. So you have to like check the calendar and make sure. All right, I'm just checking my screen there to see if I like what I have going on. I'm not sure I do, but it's gonna push a little water into this right here. Try to get that value up some. Kind of crept further down than I want it to. Sorry, I'm blocking the view here. Hard to see exactly what I'm trying to create here though, and you really only have one shot, so I like to say that I'm in control of the watercolors, sort of, but you got one shot and it needs to turn out. No pressure. All right, I don't know, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm looking at it on the screen and I'm not sure if I feel that. Let's hold it up a little bit so I can see it like standing up. All right, I guess it's all right. Hit it with a little air. If you're asking for pizza orders, it sounds like you could be already ready for, what am I trying to say? For getting pizza. Are you already getting pizza? Is that where we're at? I added the value to that, so I didn't do this big back area yet. I need to do that. Made a lot of progress. How am I doing for time? 69:21. Moving along. Just trying to fill up some space while I'm waiting on William. I almost want this to be a little darker. No, it looks good in the picture. No, that should stay. So maybe I'll just move on to this piece right here then. Even though it's skinny and little, it still needs to have a little bit of value added to it. So let me just do this one because it's easy. I like ones that I feel like I can't mess up. Some of them are really hard, and I feel like they're easy to mess up. Like that one. I don't know what's going on with that one, and I don't like it, so I'm not sure. I need to just let it be, though. If I mess with it too much, then I'm going to get annoyed. So sometimes it's best to leave it for last, actually, and then it will, by comparison, not look as bad, or you'll kind of know what to do by then. So I try not to fuss with a spot too much because it's best just to let it be and come back to it. Like the more I step away from the duck, the more I like it, and the less I think it really needs anything to be messed with. Although William said, well, what about the shadow in the water on the front? Are you going to do that? And I was like, maybe. So we'll see. I've just let him sit and gestate for a little bit. I feel like with big paintings that you've spent like many, many, many hours on, the best thing you can do is to like let it sit and rest like a piece of meat. All right, now that I got the water applied, I'm going to add a little bit of the value to it. Oh, see you later. Have a great day, Mary. Sorry if I missed you. I didn't see that till just this minute, but I hope you have a great time. All right, we're not staying around for too much longer anyway, so we're having friends and a pizza party. A musical Monday. So that's going to be the vibe of our evening. See, that one almost came together too easily. I barely even had to do anything to it. It just behaved right out of the starting gate. A little bit of water. Not too much though, because like it will disperse the paint. I feel like that's what happened with this one, although I didn't really touch it with a hairdryer for very long. So I don't know, it kind of got like a little muted. It is a little muted in here, but I don't know if I like that. See how like nice and rich this one is? This one looks like washed out, so I'm leave it for now and come back to it later. So that's what we're gonna do with that one. And in fact, this almost wants like a tiny bit more value. And it's so wet still, I can actually do that easily. It's a way to take advantage of the slightly dry paper on the edge of the space, and then the fact that the paper is so wet going up. And so then I can like have a denser application of that dark color. See how that darkened up so nicely? Because the pigment is heavy and it sinks to the bottom of the water if there's not too much water. But mostly I try to not use the hairdryer because it tends to like flatten things, but it does save time if you're hopping all over a painting. So that's the real rationale behind using it. This little spot I didn't grab, and since I got this whole area here, I think it probably makes sense to grab that since I have a little bit more time left for the live stream. I don't know where William is, but I'm hoping that it's somewhere's nearby with pizza. Let's see. Oh, he's not even at the pizza place yet. So we're ways away from the pizza place still. Oh, my screen went away. Okay, there we go. So I still have time. They don't normally get here till like 5:30 anyways. All right, clean, clear water on my red field. I'm gonna pick up a little of it because I didn't probably need nearly as much as was in the brush for that little tiny spot. These brushes hold so much water, it's crazy. And now for this one, I feel like the value sort of comes up on this side. Let's see how it works once I look at it in the screen. See if I like it. Whoops, touching things that I shouldn't touch. No, I don't like it. Interesting. Okay. That's what it showed, but it's not working for me. So I'm gonna add a little water to that so I can like push it out of the space because it's darker than I want. Even if the picture looks like that, I want to go with what looks good on the painting. Because if your brain doesn't register it properly, then it's like going to be confusing to whoever's looking at it. So I just want to do what my brain says. That's values. That works. Let's see. Yeah, it just needs to be like along the edge, I guess. I thought it was going to be on this front edge, but not so much, I guess. So let's see what I think of that. Pie is procured and pizza is ordered. So that's encouraging right there. That's good news. Do I like that? Maybe. I'm not sure the shape of it is actually what I want it to be, but it's exactly what it is in the picture. So I don't like it, but it is what it is. All right. That one's just gonna have to stay as it is, I guess. Ah! Butterfly. Ladybug just landed on me. It scared me to death. Because, you know, they're dangerous in these parts, these ladybugs. I don't love how these like look so, the paint looks so like uneven on those areas. So while I'm sitting here messing with colors, I'm going to actually grab a little brush here and try to get this a little bit more even. I don't like how streaky it looks. It's bugging me. It could just be a matter of re-wetting it, basically, and then drying it. Depends. All right, so if the paint starts to look real streaky because I'm putting water on top of it, I can always drop a little pigment into it if I want to. But the brush itself can also help to move this around and hopefully like help the brush strokes to minimize. You don't really want like streaky brush strokes in a watercolor, generally speaking, unless it's a textural thing you're trying to achieve. But in this spot, I'm not doing that. So I was just trying to add basically some value in it, and it kind of got a little bit streaky. So now I'm going to add that value back in. And it's very thick. So a little bit of water goes a long way to move things around. Trying not to dab the next door neighbor's spot here, which I'm fond of doing. So I'm hoping that cleans up this spot a little. It was just a little streaky for my liking. Whoop. Try not to touch the other spots. That's why I don't like doing the oil paintings. All right. I don't like being picky about where I'm putting my fingers at. Let's see what that looks like. That looks pretty decent, I guess. Could even like lift up a little bit of the paint if I wanted to create like a little bit of a highlight up there, you know? I wanted to add to the three-dimensional effect, but what is really important is that as this is drying, I just pay attention to like where the water is pooling and stuff. because you can get the paint on there real thick, but not like mottled looking. And so that's what I did like here. And you can see this is black paper, and this is like not black paint, but nearly close. And I'm literally just using Antwerp blue and Perylene maroon to make that incredibly rich color, which is essentially a purple over the red. So all right, I'm trying to just decide maybe one more or two more areas that I'm willing to tackle before I call it quits for the remainder of the day. This is still quite damp, or not quite damp, it's still cool to the touch though, which tells me it's still damp. So it's really like important when you go to paint things that are adjacent to each other that it's bone dry, because otherwise the adjacent areas will like bleed, and you don't want area. It would almost be a shame to not put it in there, because it really should be easy. Question is this all one petal? Yes. So this was painted in two separate sections. Most of the time I'm painting bigger sections to smaller, but in this painting I ended up painting smaller sections to bigger so that I could get like a nice blended effect and also hard edges like at the same time. So when I'm painting these big areas, filling them with water, I will start with the brightest, whitest areas first, and the biggest brush that I can reasonably, stay in control, I guess, with. So I like to cover the lightest areas because the paint will just sit and hang out. I'm looking at that for a second and I'm wondering, what am I looking at right there? There's some kind of like little thing jutting out. I don't know. That's weird. I'm going to try to save it, but I think it's not exactly accurate, so whatever. So if it doesn't look like I'm adding anything, I'm not. I'm adding, well, I am. I'm adding water. I'm not adding color though. Not yet. This still feels like slightly damp. I don't know if I should do it. I don't want it to bleed into the adjacent neighbor here. I'm gonna like barely hit the edge so that it doesn't run into its neighbor here. Normally I would not be painting spaces that are so close to each other, for fear that the paint would bleed. I didn't realize that wasn't quite dry yet. All right, I'm just gonna mop up some of the excess water so the paint doesn't go all over the place. And then this has like the most subtlest amount of values added, so I'm like gonna thin out my paint a little bit here and just add like very subtle values to the space. Less subtle than that. Subtle, but still apparent. And if it goes like crazy like it just did, all I have to do is just grab my brush and like pick up that color. All right, a little bit down here. A little nerve-wracking to add this because this is supposed to stay super bright white. But there's like a little bit of value that comes up into these areas. Not a lot, just a little. There you go, tiny bit darker there. Whoa, I said tiny. I said tiny. Come on now. Come on now. I don't consider that tiny. It's supposed to be faint. Come on now. Work with me here. And this is supposed to be like a little less aggressively defined. So just a little bit. All right, that was almost perfect, and then it kind of blooped. So I'm just gonna kind of mop that up a little bit. And then if I don't like where the paint is going, I can just add some water, and we'll push it around. Now let's see if I like how that looks in the screen. Almost. I just want a little bit more value right here. And it would be almost nearly perfect. Probably good. This could have a tiny bit right there, just like literally the tiniest amount. Whoops, that one was a little heavy-handed. No biggie. We got you. We got you, flower. Besides, we gotta like add a little bit of value down here anyways. What do we think? How's that coming along? That's looking good. Just trying to be very, very gentle. I'm a little behind on my live stream, so now I have to wait for it to like show up before I can see what I did. I don't know how I did that. All right. It's probably worth pausing right there because much darker and it's going to be too dark, and much more paint and it's going to be too creepy with paint. It's going to creep all over the place. So I'm going to add some water where I don't want the paint to go. You can also add water where you do want the paint to go. So that's like a double-edged sword right there, but hit it with a little bit of air maybe. Okay, wow. That is about all I really have time, energy, or patience for today. So I think all in all, pretty good painting session, I would say, you know? I don't know. What do you think? I think it's coming along. So pretty happy with that. And if you're with me and you've hung out with me this long, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. We're moving along on this painting. All these areas are pretty much done. They won't really need more effort. I'm going to finish up the values in this area here. I've got like just this kind of like center area. Then I need to solve the dilemma of these like stameny things. I mean, it may be watercolor, it may be a combination of watercolor gouache. I'm not really sure. So anyways, yeah, that's where I'm at. So now it's time to go eat pizza and play piano. It's going to be a whole different shift in the afternoon for me, which I'm really excited about. So I think that's it for today. I will catch you in the next live stream. Thanks for being with me, William. I appreciate you. Love you. Is that what they do? I'll see you in a little bit.